My name is Dylan. Like you said, I'm the owner of Protect Property Inspections. We're here in the Valley. We also inspect, outside of the Valley as well. We go up to Flagstaff, pretty much anywhere in Arizona. We are licensed in the state of Arizona. So we do have experience outside of the Valley as well, which is good, and willing to travel. I have a 7 inspector team. Like I said, I am the owner, but I also do inspect as well. So I try to provide that service as well. We try to run a really strict program, right? You've seen us out there inspecting. So we spend a lot of time on the home, try to be very detailed. We care a lot about our clients. We care.
Why is it that a home inspection is crucial for the homeowner, home buyer?
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, this is an investment. So this is something it usually costs a lot of money. A home is not a very cheap thing. But there's a lot of systems and a lot of working parts. I mean, we think it just sits there and stands still, but there's a lot of movement, a lot of things happening in that home. And over time, those things do deteriorate. Mm-hmm. Even a brand new home has issues sometimes. And so, we're licensed and educated and experienced with how to go in and find those certain defects so that one, the buyer can be aware of them. And then they can also be educated about them, not just know that they're there, but my inspectors will educate on, okay, now what does that actually mean? Just because we call this out and said it's defective, what does it actually mean? Is this a big, huge deal, or is this something more common that is more of a maintenance item? Mm-hmm. So that's something that we provide. A part of our report software, which I'll talk about more, is we talk about the severity of what we find. It's not just everything's bad and everything's red.
Right.
Some things are a very common thing that can be fixed, but then there are severe things that could potentially cost a lot of money in the future if not taken care of. And so, when you go into a house and you want to buy it, you're so excited and you look past things because you just want to buy this home. You're so excited.
Right.
But our job is to not be excited. We're there to be strict and professional and have a routine, like I said, and stick to it, so that we find everything we need to, and then we educate you on it, and then allow you and your realtor to work together to come up with is this going to be the best?
Exactly what the home inspector will do from when they begin to when they end an inspection.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to talk about my business specifically, but I will throw out a couple things about the industry. So, as far as the industry goes, we're licensed here in Arizona. So we have the Board of Technical Registration in Arizona. They say we have to cover these certain 84 items when we inspect. Right. Okay, my inspectors, we're usually more in the 100 to 120 things that we look at. So we try to broaden our scope a little bit. We take on a little more liability that way, but again, we want to cover everything that we can. So there's sometimes our limitations. Like I said, that's why there's the 84 items that we have to stick to. However, we try to open our horizons a little bit and be very, very detailed. So with that said, my inspectors personally and specifically, I do not schedule less than 3 hours for a home inspection. So this isn't showing up and we're there for 15 minutes and then we say, here's your report. We're there for 3 hours. When we get there, the first thing we do is check the water meter to see if there's anything going on underneath. If there's nothing running in the house, the water meter should be standing still. And people who have experienced slab leaks or things like that, they know how important that is. So we test that. Then we go on the roof. And obviously that's important to everybody here in Arizona, right?
Right.
So a lot of roof issues. So we get on the roof and inspect the top of the roof, but then it's very important to get in the attic space and inspect the underside of the roof. A lot of inspectors don't spend enough time doing that. So we make sure to really prioritize that area. Not just for the roof's sake, but insulation levels, right? It gets really hot here.
Yep.
But also we have a lot of split system HVAC systems. So the air handler and the furnace a lot of time is in the attic. Also duct work. You have the roof structure, trusses and such, which people have seen cracked trusses. If you follow my Facebook, you've seen some of these, these horror stories that we put out sometimes. And, hey, everything's repairable, but again, there could be some pretty bad stuff in that attic. So very important for us to get to that because, most buyers aren't going to do that. Right.
Right. And then
so we do that. Exactly. So then we'll come down, we'll do the exterior of the home, and not just the exterior of the actual home itself, but what about the grading and drainage of the dirt even around? if water's pooling near the foundation, it could cause significant settling, especially here in the valley. We have very expansive soils, and most of us don't have rain gutters or great
Right.
drainage. So we
Right.
assess that and we'll report on that. We also look at the stucco or the block or whatever the home's built out of on the exterior. We look at all the plumbing, the spigots, the electrical is a big thing. Usually our electrical panels are on the outside.
That's a big
So
thing.
we
Yes.
look at those, we look at the
Costly.
air conditioning. Yes, absolutely.
Costly.
So, and then we'll go inside and we're assessing everything in the home, everything you can see. We try to basically every square inch we're looking at. So walls, floors, ceilings, we test windows for function and look for broken glass, doors for function. You know, a simple door that doesn't work correctly could actually be a foundation issue. So we're looking for all kinds of things that could point to more severe issues.
Mhm.
Sometimes it just needs to be adjusted, and over time it's kind of moved out of place, you know. And then obviously plumbing, we're testing all the fixtures, making sure hot and cold, making sure that everything drains functionally, but also flows functionally. Very extensive. So again, 3 hours, right?
Right.
We haven't even talked about, right, the water heater, the garage door.
Lots of components in a home, so.
There's so many components. And then we do a very extensive test on the HVAC system as well, making sure that that works well. So the most important part of our routine is to have you guys come at the end and to walk you guys around the property, the real estate agent and the buyer, and to just kind of talk to them about what we found, educate them. Again, it's not just about defects. A lot of times it's about, hey, here's something you might look at in a couple of years. Here's something that is a maintenance item, or here's how to prolong the life of this or that.
Right.
So we think that is probably one of the most important parts, and that adds usually another 45 minutes to an hour. So there's 4 hours that we're spending in the home. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about why you would suggest doing an inspection on a brand new build?
Yeah, absolutely. That this has become so popular. People buying new homes, you know, with low inventory, it's almost a must. People are having to reach out and kind of explore that option. And so with that said, these builders are just so busy, the trades are busy, and this is common knowledge, I think, in the real estate industry that a lot of times these buildings get built so quick and so fast that things just can be missed. And I would never badmouth a builder. My dad built homes growing up. So, you know, I know there's a lot to it and there's a lot of moving parts. So it's never my job to badmouth. It's my job to come in and hopefully be hired so that you guys can see that you would be amazed at what we find on new build homes. So we provide a couple different inspections that we really recommend just based off of what we found in our experience. The first one would be the pre-drywall inspection. And at that point, usually the home is framed. It has roof covering on it with the shingles, or I'm sorry, the tiles are usually stacked on it.
Right.
And then the interior of the home has all the plumbing and electrical and everything, but it's all exposed. There's exposed wood, exposed plumbing, exposed electrical. So that way we can come in and see, hey, is anything going to be wrong with this or cause an issue with the home later? And oftentimes we find things that would have caused a fairly significant amount of either damage or safety concern or fire hazard or all kinds of things that if left unfound by us will most likely be covered up by drywall, insulation, and never found until they cause that damage. So yeah, please go check out my Facebook. We'll talk about more at the very end, but I do a ton of videos on things that I find, that my inspectors find on the pre-drywall. And then one thing we always recommend too, sometimes maybe you're past that and you're in the middle of that process right now, but your insulation and drywall is already there. We do pre-move-in inspections. We really feel that's important because it's like, hey, before we move all of our furniture and everything in that's going to limit the inspector's view, let's have an inspector come in. And everything we find, usually the builder is usually pretty good about fixing. Sometimes they have their tiffs or maybe they don't agree or whatever, but for the most part, they realize, hey, this is a licensed professional saying this needs repair. And so they'll repair it. And then you don't have to worry about it later on. And then the third one is the 11-month warranty inspection. So every new build is under warranty for 1 year, usually, sometimes more. And so we'll come in right before that ends and we'll write up a ton of things. We use blue tape.
Recommend even while you are living in the home to ever do an inspection? Have somebody come out and inspect your home?
Yeah, absolutely. We do maintenance inspections. I mean, and we would do it the same as any other way. We'll spend just as much time.
Mhm.
A lot of times we're a little limited due to your belongings, but we can help you move stuff around if needed. I mean, we're
Right.
very willing to do that. We also provide what's called a 5-point inspection, which if somebody just wants us to check, the major systems of the home. So the roof, the attic, those are one together, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and then the structure of the home. So we can look at all those things, and that's also a cheaper price too. We don't charge as much for that, usually around $250.
Okay.
We'll spend just as much time, but we're not worried about smaller cosmetic things because usually the person is aware of those.
Right.
We care more about, hey, are the systems functioning? What are their longevity going to be? That kind of.
Um, what are some of the common problems you've seen in Arizona, especially that could potentially cost homeowners, a lot of money if not taken care of, or possibly be a safety concern?
Sure. I think one of the biggest things, and I think most people would agree, how important cooling is here, right? I mean, it just, I mean, right now it's so
Only in the
nice out.
desert.
Yeah, we
We only
forget
find
about
it
it
in
right
the
now. It's so
80s.
nice, but
I know.
yeah, but it's during the summer. It's such a big deal, and the AC guys are running around like crazy because they're so busy because we really don't maintain those systems like we should. So that's where we really do a really comprehensive test with those. But we're not just testing the system itself. We're looking at everything involved. It's kind of the whole house is almost like a body. Everything works together, right? And so, if the windows are having issues, or if the insulation is not deep enough, or nice and uniform in the attic, this could be a huge deal to make our AC work that much harder. So there's all kinds of little things. Maybe we have a gap under our door, which is something we find all the time. There's constant hot air being allowed into the house, so that air conditioner is fighting it, as opposed to, we could give some ideas of some simple maintenance items that would then, and fairly inexpensive maintenance items that would then, prolong the longevity of that system. We
Right.
always recommend servicing of the AC systems once a year. Usually that's a fairly inexpensive thing to do, $50 to $80 maybe for most AC companies.
Mhm.
And they'll come out and make sure your refrigerant levels are good. They'll check all the systems for heating and cooling, really. So there's a lot to that. But again, we do a really extensive test of that system and look at the whole thing. The whole thing is the big picture, really.
Mhm.
That's probably the biggest thing. But again, we have hard water here. So we recommend, having your water heater serviced once a year. Usually they'll drain it and get any sediment or hard water buildup out of it. They'll check the connections and make sure everything's working well there. Water heater could be a pretty expensive fix as well. And again, Arizona, we're tough on them here. So,
Yeah.
and then the biggest thing, I think, for me personally, being a firefighter as well, I'm actually a professional firefighter, and being a part of a scene of a drowning in a pool is nothing to be taken lightly. So
Right.
there's a lot of safety things that we look for with a pool, as far as it being fenced and the gates operating appropriately, as well as having alarms on your doors, child safety locks, things like that. So we take that stuff very
When buying a home.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. I mean, if there's one thing I could add, is just that we do provide a great report as well. We don't just write things down on a sheet of paper and hand it to you. We have a very extensive and kind of top of the line, really, reporting software. And so as we inspect, we
Yes,
write a
I do
report.
appreciate your easy to
Yeah,
follow and read reports.
yes,
Makes
absolutely.
my life
So
so much easier.
yes, yeah, we've had a lot of photos, videos, and just everything. We'll usually take between 100 and 200 photos is kind of an average for us, and on a general home inspection. And so those are yours forever, as the buyer as well as the agent. So you can refer back to them. You can create, us too, and then other than that, just keep an eye on our Facebook, facebook.com/protect inspections. And we're getting into Instagram and LinkedIn and all that too. So check us out on those. We're real good at social media. We try to post videos, whether it be educational or something that we found that was kind of cool. We want to take care of that person, and we'll travel if that's necessary. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dylan. I really appreciate it again, and good luck to you and your business.
Thank you. Thank you, Angie.